have since done a book.
Right.
And it centers around Justin's journal.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you came to know about his journaling and then to write the book.
Well, I was close to Justin, but I'm not reading his journal. That's private. And I wasn't even asking him if he was, if he had a journal. But when he died, we immediately had to, there were things we had to do, and so we began to meet as a family with the family and prepare for those things, and his mom talked about this journal that he had. Well, it's helpful sometimes when you're preparing for the difficult task of preaching a funeral to use someone's Bible or use a journal. So I just simply said, hey, could I look at that? That would help me. And so, she gave it to me, and I started looking at it. I thought, oh my goodness. Here's a kid that I taught that he got that journal in January. His mom gave it to him kind of as a New Year kind of thing. And I started looking at it, and he didn't miss one day. And he had this habit of putting a date on everything. And so I just started looking, and the dates caught my eye. And I started thinking, man, I haven't been that faithful with my time with the Lord. I just couldn't believe it. And so, it was so challenging. I didn't know what to say at a funeral. What do you say? You can't get up and say, let me explain to you why this happened. You just can't do that. I can't explain. I still don't know why. There are many things in life that's a mystery, and this is definitely one of them for me. But at the same time, I started listening to what Justin was saying in his journal, and it's very clear that God had a purpose for his life. And so as I was, preaching his funeral, I really felt like something needed to be written. And so I don't know how we got to the point of I would write something, but somehow we got there. And I made a commitment to his family at the funeral. I said, I promise you that for the rest of my life, I will tell his story. And so then about 2.5 years later, an idea came. And so I met with his parents and said, hey, I have an idea. And so they allowed me to look at his journal. And that's still an emotional thing. Because it's just so, you see his handwriting, and it's just it's still very fresh for all of us. And though it happened 5.5 years ago, it's still very, very fresh. So they let me see it, and I started just kind of writing, took it and just typed some stuff out, and so I didn't know what to do after that. I've never pursued the writing of a book, and so I'm pretty realistic, about, I'm a great guy and everything, but I'm not. It's like I'm going to call a publishing company and go, "Hi, I'm Chris Wall. Just wrote a book. How about just taking this?" So I thought, well, probably we're going to have to self-publish this, and so I went to meet with one of Justin's Sunday school teachers. His senior year, he had a Sunday school teacher that was in our church that was a banker, and I said, Jim, I'd like to just share an idea with you. I don't know, could you point me in a direction? And so as I shared the idea, he said, I'll raise the money for that. And I kind of was shocked, and I said, he goes, why don't you just go write it, and I'll take care of that side of things. And I was like, oh no, now I've got to write it. And no, but I knew it was something I was supposed to do. So by 2 months later, the money to produce this was sitting in a bank. Wow. And so I began the journey of writing. It took me about 2.5 years, and it was a process. You know, it was an emotional process for me, because there were times that I would write and I would think, I just can't do this today. And then there were times that I would say, you know, hey, okay, I really had a focus, and so, you know, it was a process. It was a team effort for sure. I mean, there were several people that were involved with this that just took an idea that I think was a good idea, but really made it a great idea.